Hello everyone. Last time we have completed the hydrolysis of salts. So there we have seen that depending on the strength of acidic or basic component in the salt, the solution may be acidic, basic or neutral in nature. So this is what we can conclude by the hydrolysis of each of these salts. So today we'll start with our next topic, that is nothing but buffer solution. So first we'll understand what is the definition of buffer solution. It is defined as a solution which resists drastic changes in pH when a small amount of strong acid or strong base or water is added to it. Now, what do you mean by buffer solution? Now, for example, a reaction is there in which throughout we have to maintain acidic solution, right? So in between a reaction, sometimes there will be formation of a acidic component or a basic component. So the basic component will lead to the change in its medium. So therefore, in such a reaction where we have to maintain the pH throughout a reaction, we add buffer solution. So what does buffer solution do? Buffer solution helps us to maintain the pH of that solution whenever a acid or a base or water is added. So there are two types of buffer solution. What are they? Acidic buffer and basic buffer. Now what do you mean by acidic buffer? Simple, the one which maintain acidic pH are said to be acidic buffer, and the one which will maintain alkaline pH or basic pH are said to be basic buffer. Now we'll see these two types of buffer in details. Okay, so to understand about acidic buffer, it is nothing but a solution of a mixture of weak acid and a salt of this weak acid with a strong base. Now instead of that thing, you can refer it as a solution of a mixture of weak acid with its salt of conjugate base. You can write any one definition for acidic buffer. Now what is a weak acid? Weak acid, if we are saying it as acetic acid, so it will combine with, or it will be a solution of CH3COOH and its salt of weak acid with a strong base. That means CH3COOH, its conjugate base is what? CH3COO minus. Its salt is nothing but sodium salt of acetic acid. Okay, so CH3COONA. So this is nothing but one example. Okay, so solution of a mixture of weak acid, that is CH3COO, and its salt is nothing but CH3COONA. Okay. Similarly, basic buffer will be what? A solution of a mixture of weak base and its salt with a strong acid. Okay, so it is nothing but, what will be the example over here? Ammonium hydroxide, weak base, NH4OH. Okay, now NH4 plus will be the conjugate acid of a weak base. Now what is its salt? Nothing but NH4Cl. Nothing but what? NH4Cl. So hopefully you understand what is the literal meaning of acidic buffer and basic buffer. For simplification, you can just understand acidic buffer means weak acid along with its salt of a strong base, and basic buffer will be nothing but weak base along with its salt of a strong acid. Now we can learn many of the examples of acidic buffer. We'll just see some examples so that it will be cleared in your mind. Now for example, I say phosphoric acid. Phosphoric acid is nothing but H3PO4. Its salt is nothing but NaH2PO4, sodium hydrogen phosphate. Okay, so here what happens? one of the H is replaced by Na. So it is its salt. Sodium salt of phosphoric acid is also referred as sodium hydrogen phosphate. Similarly, if I take the weak acid as HCOOH. What is that HCOOH? It is nothing but formic acid. Therefore, I can say that its salt will be nothing but what? HCOONA. That is nothing but sodium salt of formic acid. So, hopefully, you understood what is the meaning of acidic buffer and basic buffer. Now, we will learn the equation of both acidic and basic buffer. This equation is referred as Henderson-Hasselbalch equation. So first one, the pH of acidic buffer is given by pH is equal to pKa plus log to the base 10 of the concentration of salt upon the concentration of acid, where pKa is equal to negative logarithm to the base 10 of Ka, and Ka is nothing but the dissociation constant of acid over here. And the pOH of basic buffer is given by the equation pOH equal to pKb plus log to the base 10 of the concentration of salt upon the concentration of base, where pKb refers to the negative logarithm to the base 10 of Kb. What is Kb over here? Kb is nothing but the dissociation constant of weak base. And one more thing very important, whenever you write down this equation, you have to write down log to the base 10. If you are not writing log to the base 10, your marks will be deducted over here in the board exams. Once you know the meaning of acidic buffer and basic buffer, it will be easier for you to understand the buffer action. Buffer action simply means the mechanism of buffer. Now, here we are going to see the mechanism of acidic buffer. So, acidic buffer, we will take the example of CH3COOH and CH3COONA. It is written as NaCH3COO. So, first understand acidic buffer is made from a weak acid and a solution of its salt. Okay, so here in this case the weak acid is CH3COOH and the salt is CH3COONA. Okay, now CH3COOH, since it is a weak acid, it will partially dissociate into CH3COO minus and H plus, and CH3COONA, that is sodium salt of acetic acid, will be completely dissociating as CH3COO minus and Na plus. So these are the reaction which will be there in the acidic buffer. Now in the solution, CH3COO minus will be fully dissociated in solution as it is a soluble salt. The mixture has relatively high concentration of what? CH3COO minus and CH3COOH. These are nothing but referred to as the reservoirs, which will help in balancing the pH of the solution whenever an acid or a base is added. Now, for example, just understand that if suppose NaOH is added, NaOH is nothing but referred to as a base. Whenever a strong base is added, that is NaOH, it will dissociate into Na plus and OH minus. So, if there is no buffer solution, what will happen? The medium will turn into basic. So, to neutralize that, what will happen is this OH minus, which is generated from NaOH, will be balanced by the formation of water. How the formation of water will happen over here? Now, in this reaction, what is there? CH3COOH and CH3COO minus is there. So, this OH minus will react with what? CH3COOH. Okay. CH3COOH will react with OH minus and form acetate ions. What is acetate ions? CH3COO minus. And what will be formed? Water will be formed. That means the base which was added, it is now turned into water. So no more change in pH. And CH3CO minus, any which ways, that is excess in the solution. Hopefully till here you understood about when NaOH is added, that means when a base is added. Now if suppose in the solution a strong acid is added, so what will happen? The acid will dissociate completely into H plus and Cl minus. Now afterwards, once H plus is added, that means the solution will become what? Acidic in nature. But we want to maintain it. That means a acidic buffer will be added. Now what will the acidic buffer do? The acidic buffer will neutralize the H plus ions which is created. Now how it will neutralize? We know that there are excess of CH3COOH and CH3COO minus ion. Now H plus will react with what? CH3COO minus, that is nothing but the acetate ions, and it will form acetic acid, and hence the excess H plus whatever is created, that will be also neutralized over here. So to conclude, we can say whenever an acid is added, the large concentration of acetate ions reacts with the proton to form acetic acid, and hence the acid is neutralized. And when OH minus, that means a strong base, is added, the acetic acid react with OH minus. So what will happen? OH minus will take the H plus from CH3COOH and will form water, and acetate ions will be there. So we can say the weak acid and the conjugate base of the weak acid plays a very important role to maintain the pH of the solution. Hopefully the mechanism of acidic buffer is cleared now. Similar way is for the basic buffer. That means whenever ammonium hydroxide and ammonium chloride is there, if H plus or OH minus is extra, that means strong acid or strong base is added, the solution, the buffer solution, will try to maintain the pH so that the pH of the medium will be same. Okay. Now we'll learn some of the properties of buffer solution. So buffer solution is what? Which resists the change in pH of a solution. So the pH of a buffer solution should not be affected. Okay, so that won't be changed by addition of small amount of either acid or a base. The pH of buffer solution doesn't change on dilution, and the pH of buffer solution won't change even if the solution is kept for a long time. These are the properties of buffer solution. Okay. So now we'll see some of the applications of buffer solution. Now buffer solution plays a very important role in various fields. So some of the fields which are mentioned over here are in biological system, that is in our body, agriculture, industry, medicine, and analytical chemistry. Now first, to understand about in biological system, where it is important. Okay, actually the pH of our blood should be maintained in between 7.36 to 7.42, or else it will lead to death of a person. Even if slight point to increase or decrease in the pH will lead to death of a person. So which is a buffer which helps to maintain it? The weak acid carbonic acid and its conjugate base helps to maintain the pH of blood. And even whenever a saline solution is given to the patient, it is important to maintain the proper pH of the blood by using the buffer system. Now, second application is of the agriculture. There, the soils get buffered with the presence of some salts like carbonate, bicarbonate, phosphate, and organic acids. So, the choice of fertilizers depends upon the pH of soil. Next, there are some industries where this buffer solution plays a very important role. They are nothing but paper, dye, ink, paint, and drug industries. Next application, to know about medicine. Now, penicillin is a medicine which is normally given for some infection. Now, when the penicillin preparations are done, it is stabilized by the addition of sodium citrate as a buffer, because it's a medicine. If it is not stabilized, it will harm the human beings. Okay, so therefore its pH should be maintained. Similarly, when citric acid is added to milk of magnesia, magnesium citrate is formed, which is a buffer. And the last application is nothing but analytical chemistry. In analytical chemistry, when we do qualitative analysis of precipitation of cations of third A group, the pH of the solution have to be maintained in between 8 to 10. There we add the basic buffer to maintain its pH. Since we have to maintain between 8 to 10, we need a basic buffer. Therefore, we add what? A basic buffer in that. What is a basic buffer we will be adding over here? It is nothing but ammonium hydroxide and its salt, that is NH4Cl. So these are some of the applications of buffer solution. Now we'll start with our next topic, that is solubility product. So first we'll understand about solubility equilibria. Okay, so to start with, we'll confine our attention to sparingly soluble compounds. Now, to begin with sparingly soluble compounds, what do you mean by sparingly soluble compounds? Okay, so they are nothing but the one which is slightly dissolved in water are said to be, or slightly soluble in water are said to be nothing but sparingly soluble salt. AgCl is an example of sparingly soluble salt. AgCl, that means silver chloride, is an example of sparingly soluble salt. Okay, now for solubility equilibria, let's understand that we have taken this AgCl powder and we have put this thing in water and stirred continuously. So what will happen? Some of the AgCl molecules will try to dissociate. The one which is dissociating will completely dissociate as Ag plus and Cl minus, and many of the molecules of AgCl will be undissolved. That means they will be there in the undissociated form simply as molecule AgCl. Okay, So therefore we can say that there will be a equilibrium which will exist between the molecule, or we can say the undissolved solid AgCl, and the dissolved ions Ag plus and Cl minus. Okay, so the solubility equilibrium is represented by what is given here, AgCl going to Ag plus plus Cl minus. Since all the AgCl molecules are not dissociated into its ions, we represent double arrow over here. Okay, and one more thing I just have to tell you is, since AgCl is a big molecule, that is the reason it is not being dissolved fully in water. Okay, that is one of the reasons, because Ag is a big molecule. Okay, the size of Ag itself is big enough, therefore it doesn't simply dissolve, only few amount of Ag will be getting dissolved over here. Okay, now once you understand the solubility equilibrium reaction, we can, next step we'll be writing is what? The equilibrium constant. You know that the equilibrium constant will be represented by K, and that is equal to the concentration of the product of the concentration of the products upon the concentration of the reactants. So over here it will be equal to the concentration of Ag plus into the concentration of Cl minus upon the concentration of AgCl. Okay, now the concentration of AgCl, which is the undissolved solid, we can write it as constant. Okay, so that means I represent that thing as K dash. Concentration of AgCl, that is a constant, that is nothing but K dash. So I'll substitute the value in the above equation. Okay, so what will happen? I'll get the equation as K is equal to concentration of Ag plus into concentration of Cl minus upon K dash. Now I can take this K dash from the right hand side to the left hand side. Therefore it will be nothing but K into K dash is equal to concentration of Ag plus into concentration of Cl minus. Now the product of K into K dash we can write as another constant, and that is nothing but called as solubility product. That is the product of the concentration of ions in a saturated solution. So it is represented by Ksp. So the Ksp is equal to concentration of Ag plus into concentration of Cl minus. So in general we can write down the solubility equilibrium of a salt as, if for example my sparingly soluble salt is BxAy, then I can dissociate into x moles of B raised to y plus y moles of A raised to x plus, where y plus and x minus are the charges of the ions, positive and negative ions. So the equilibrium, so the solubility product can be represented as Ksp equal to the concentration of the ions, that is nothing but B raised to y plus raised to x into A raised to x minus raised to y. So we can define solubility product as the product of equilibrium concentrations of the constituent ions raised to the power equal to their respective coefficients in the balanced equilibrium expressions at a given temperature in a saturated solution of sparingly soluble salt. So once again I'll define. In the saturated solution of sparingly soluble salt, the product of equilibrium concentrations of the constituent ions raised to the power equal to their respective coefficients in the balanced equilibrium expression at a given temperature. Remember, it is very important for you to write down the saturated solution of sparingly soluble salt, and we can write the solubility product only if the reaction is balanced. So now we'll see some examples. Before starting with the example, you just have to remember that whenever you want to find out the solubility product of a sparingly soluble salt, first step is to write down its balanced reaction, and you have to show double arrow whenever you are writing such kind of reaction. Then apply directly the solubility product, you'll get it. Okay, so we'll see first example, that is barium sulfate. Now first we have to do the dissociation of barium sulfate. It will dissociate into Ba2 plus SO4 2 minus. So I can find the Ksp value, that will be equal to what? The concentration of Ba2 plus raised to 1, since the stoichiometric coefficient for Ba2 plus is equal to 1, into the concentration of SO4 2 minus raised to 1. Okay, so hopefully you understood how to find out the solubility product. Similarly, second one, for calcium fluoride, it will dissociate into what? Ca2 plus 2F minus, since there are 2 atoms of fluorine in calcium fluoride. Now I'll apply Ksp value. So it will be what? Ksp will be equal to the concentration of Ca2 plus into the concentration of F minus raised to 2. Why 2? Because the stoichiometric coefficient of F minus is 2 in the balanced equation. Hopefully you understood. Now next example, bismuth sulfide. Here it will get dissociate into 2 molecules of Bi3 plus 3 molecules of S2 minus. So if I apply solubility product, it will be Ksp is equal to concentration of Bi3 plus raised to 2 into concentration of S2 minus raised to 3. One more example, calcium phosphate. Understand, PO4 it is 3 minus, Ca it is 2 plus. So I can dissociate it into 3 molecules of Ca2 plus 2 molecules of PO4 3 minus. So the Ksp value will be equal to concentration of Ca2 plus raised to 3 into concentration of PO4 3 minus raised to 2. You can work out many of the examples of sparingly soluble salt. If for example I say lead chloride. Now I know the charge of lead is Pb2 plus, it is 2 plus, and for Cl it is 1 minus. So the equation will be PbCl2 will dissociate into Pb2 plus 2 molecules of Cl minus. Therefore the Ksp value for lead chloride will be equal to concentration of Pb2 plus into concentration of Cl minus raised to 2. So you can work out many of the example like ZnCO3, zinc carbonate, magnesium fluoride, lead chromate. What will be the formula of lead chromate? It will be PbCrO4. Please try out all these examples. Okay, so thank you. Next time we'll see the relationship between solubility and solubility product. Okay then.